Good morning, sir. This is Harindra Daddy. I was born and brought up in Piringipuram, Guntur district, Andhra Pradesh. I was finished my MPhil and MS in physics. I was reached my PhD in 2015 in Madras University. Due to my personal reason, I am unable to continue it. Now, I would like to take a demo class on EMI. What is a EMI? Before we are going to enter into this topic, let us see the introduction. In the before 19th century, everybody think that electricity and magnetism were both are not interrelated. Both are not interrelated. But in the beginning of the 19th centuries, like 18th first decades, the experiments made by the Ampere, Biot-Savarts, and Oersted and few other scientists established and found that when the moving charges when the moving charges are flowing, will produce the magnetic field. For that they gave an explanation. When we are keeping the magnetic compass needle nearby the current carrying coil, that compass needle is deflecting. In the same contemporary in 1830, that same phenomena is the nature will allow us to converse it, to converse this situation. That is, when the magnet is moving, will produce the current. That phenomena, that nature will allow or not. For that, resounding as S by the experiment made by the Faraday and Henry. Faraday is from England and Henry from the USA. They made, and they found that when the magnet is moving near to the coil is producing induced current, which is measured by the galvanometer. What is the EMI? EMI is nothing but the production of current or generation of the current by varying the magnetic field. By varying the magnetic field is called a electromagnetic induction. Is called a electromagnetic induction. Let us take, this is the introduction. Next, Faraday and Henry, Faraday and Henry, they made some experiments. Let us see, among them three experiments we are going to study. That the first experiment, let us, they taken a one coil, it is naming as C1, and they taken one bar magnet as north south. It is moving towards the coil. So from the magnet, it will produce the magnetic lines of force. It is connected to the galvanometer. Then magnetic flux are releasing from the north to south. So like that, magnetic lines of force are coming out from the north pole. So when the magnet is moving towards this, when the magnet is moving towards the coil, the deflection observed in a galvanometer in a right hand side direction. When it is going away from the coil, the deflection is also observed in a opposite direction. But as long as it is in a motion, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. And secondly, he changed the pole of the magnet. Again, he was moving towards this and away from this, which is the deflections opposite to the previous case. This is, and he was fixed the magnet and he was moving the coil. Then that time also the deflections are observed in a galvanometer. Galvanometer is one which could find the currents and voltages in a circuit. Okay, so from this first experiment, they made a conclusion as the relative motion between the coil and magnet will produce the induced current in a coil. So it is showing when magnet is coming towards this, the induced current showing in a anti-clockwise direction. When it's going away from the coil, it is showing in a clockwise direction. And second experiment, instead of bar magnet, they placed a one more coil. They taken a one more coil. It is connected to the battery. This battery will produce the steady current, so it will produce the steady magnetic field. So when steady magnetic field is produced, then steady magnetic field produced, so there is no deflection in galvanometer, so it is naming as a C2, coil C2. So as long as it is keeping constant, there is no deflection in galvanometer. When it is moving towards this coil, the deflections are observed, which is the galvanometer showing in a opposite right hand side direction, induced current taking place in a opposite in a anti-clockwise direction, and going away from this, then the flux variations are taking place, so that the deflection is showing in a left hand side direction, and the induced current taking in a clockwise direction. And then C2 coil is fixing and C1 coil is moving. That time also they observed the deflection. So it is also the finally they made from first experiment and second experiment the relative motion between coil C1 and C2. Coil C1 and magnet will produce induced current in a circuit which is measured in a galvanometer, which is measured by the galvanometer. But they try to establish the relation of is the absolute requirement to produce the relative motion is the absolute requirement to produce induced current in a circuit. For that, they are fixing the C1 and C2 is fixed, they are not moving, and along with the second experiment, they made for C2 coil one tapping key is added. One tapping key is added. What is the use of tapping key means? It will raise the current from 0 when it is pressed. It will raise the current from 0 to maximum level, and when it released, it will come from maximum to 0 level within a short interval of time. So when it is when the tapping key is pressed in this situation, the current will be produced and which is past the coil C2 from 0 to maximum level in a short interval of time, so that the flux variations will be passing through the coil C1. Momentary deflection is taking place in a galvanometer. Again, as long as its key is pressed, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. And when the key is released, then the current is coming from maximum to 0 level, then the flux variations are taking place through coil C1, then the deflection is taking place in the opposite direction, then momentary deflection is taking place. So by keeping the C1 and C2 coils are at rest position. So from to produce the induced current in a coil C1, we required flux changes are very necessary. From this experiment we are going to find, and apart from that, they placed along the axis of the two coils, they placed on ferromagnetic material or soft iron core. By that they are finding large deflection in a galvanometer. So it is a necessary to change the flux variations in a coil C1 to get a induced current. Next is of the Faraday and Henry experiment. So flux variations are taking place through this area of the coil. So the number of flux passing through an area, a plane area, is called magnetic flux. What are the magnetic flux or magnetic flux density? The number of flux passing through unit area is called, or a plane area is called a magnetic flux. It is represented letter with a pi b equal to ba. If you take a one surface, in this one small surface we are imagining, so magnetic field is okay, this is a, it is a magnetic field. So b dot pi b equal to ba, then it is a pi b equal to BA cos theta. Phi b is a scalar quantity. Then what are the SI unit of magnetic flux is Weber over Tesla meter square over Tesla meter square. CGS units are Maxwell, and 1 Maxwell equal to 10 to the power minus 8 Webers. 10 to the power 8 minus 8 Webers. Then dimensional formula for magnetic flux are m power 1, dimensional formula, very important, m power 1 L square t power minus 2 a power minus 1. So these are about the magnetic flux. Then we Faraday and Henry experiment, from 3 experiment they made a one statement. That statement is called a Faraday law of induction. What is the Faraday law of induction? Faraday law. What is the Faraday law of induction? Faraday law of induction state that the magnitude of induced EMF in a coil which is produced will cause the produce the induced current in a coil which is measured in a galvanometer. So how much it is producing? For that he given a one mathematical expression. That mathematical expression is called a Faraday's law of induction. Faraday's laws of induction, that is given by the magnitude of induced EMF is equal to rate of change of flux. The induced EMF is equal to rate of change of flux passing through that coil. Then we can write this as E equal to minus d pi b by dt. This minus represents the direction of the induced EMF or direction of the induced current, which could be opposes the actual flux which is caused by it, which will be opposite in a coil. That's why it will shows the minus. If the coil, if you are taking number of coils are increased, if you take n number of coils, then the induced EMF is the flux passing through the each coil will be same. Then the induced EMF is taking place as minus n d pi b by dt. Same flux are passing. So by increasing the number of coils, we can increase the induced EMF. That is the Faraday law of induction. Next, we are going to see the application of Faraday law of induction. Applications of Faraday law of induction. This induced EMF is changing with the magnetic field. First application, magnetic field is increases or changing with respect to time. Then what is the induced EMF? Let us take, it is placing in a uniform magnetic field. The coil we are taking, it is having a radius smaller, then B is changing with respect to time. Then induced EMF, how much is produced? That is induced EMF E equal to, what is the formula? By d pi b by dt. E equal to minus of d by dt of pi b is a, we know that from magnetic BA. Here variable quantity is B, so that minus a dB by dt. Then here minus a is the area of cross section of the loop. We can write as, by knowing its radius, pi r square dB by dt. This is the induced EMF caused by varying the magnetic field. If B is increased, then the induced current in a anti-clockwise direction, and B is decreases, the induced current will be in a clockwise direction. This is what first application. Let us see the second application. If if the loop is if the area of the loop is changing, initially the area of the loop is A1 and finally it is going to change into A2. Then the flux variations will be takes place. Initially the flux variation pi 1 equal to BA1 and finally pi 2 equal to BA2. Then how much induced EMF will be taking place? Induced EMF equal to minus of change in flux by time. Change in flux, that is a BA2 minus BA1 divided by time. Here B and minus taking common, minus into minus plus and B taking, so B of A1 minus A2 by T. This is the induced EMF by varying the area of the loop with respect to time. Next, third application, we are seeing that as the radius of the loop is changing with respect to time. The radius of the loop. When the radius of the loop is changing with respect to time, then the flux variations also will be takes place. Then the induced EMF also will be produced. Then E equal to minus d by dt of pi. Yes, directly I am writing. That is a B area we are changing. That is a pi r square. Then minus of here constant variable is r. Then B pi differentiation of r square will give the 2r and dr by dt. So this is the induced EMF produced by coil when when the when the radius of the coil is changing with respect to time. And next experiment, next we are taking in a this magnetic field, we are placing a one rectangular loop. When you are placing this rectangular loop, this loop in the one of this arm is moving with the velocity v. One of this arm is moving with velocity v. It is having a let us give the name P, Q or S. This QR distance as X and this SR distance as L. Then the flux passing through this as pi equal to BA, as you know standard formula, B into A equal to area of this loop, that is a Lx. Then what is the induced EMF when it is moving with velocity v across the PQ is given by E equal to minus d by dt of pi b, pi or else minus d by dt of BLX. BL are constant, dx by dt is a minus v because it is moving towards this, minus of minus plus is a BLV. This is called a motional EMF. It is called a motional EMF which is produced in a uniform magnetic field across the PQ. So the current is passing in this loop in a Q to P by taking a Fleming left hand rule. This is the force direction, this is the magnetic field direction, and this is the current direction. By taking this, the force will Lorentz force will act on this rod in opposite to the velocity. Okay. Then we are going to see next application. Here we are placing a magnetic field. We are taking uniform magnetic field. In this uniform magnetic field, we are placing different shapes of the material. That is loop I am taking, and the rectangular loop also I am taking. So when it is loop is, if I take, in which of the loop induced EMF will be constant. In a rectangular loop, induced EMF will be constant, whereas in a circular loop, induced EMF is not constant because induced EMF, the flux variations are taking place in a coil, in a circular loop is constant, and the flux passing through the rectangular in this loop are constant with respect to time. That's why induced EMF will be here constant, here it will not be a constant. This is about the Next, we are going to see the another application. In this case, sixth application we are going to see. Here we are adding a one resistance. In a rectangular loop, we are adding a one resistance, and it is having a this rectangular loop having a resistance as R. Then what is the total current passing through it? That is I equal to, we know that E by R. I equal to, what is the E value we got it? BLV by R. This is the current passing through this rectangular loop when we are placing in a uniform magnetic field. Thank you, sir. My memory is going to fill, sir. Thank you for this opportunity given me.